So I'm going to load up the chat rooms again, and we're going to start up the next match. If you guys would like to play in the workshop games, make sure that you're in the chat rooms and ready to play. Chat room names are P4N ADC, P4N mid, P4N jungle, P4N top, and P4N... Did that not join? P4N jungle is the missing one. Yeah. And P4N jungle. I'm going to play a quick set of ads while I get people invited. This can take a little while. So thank you so much to those of you who are not Thank you to those of you who are not using ad block. You will not be missing anything while the ads are playing. Okay, we should be back from ads here. Hey, glad you enjoyed there, Philip. This is probably the last one, yes. We generally do 2 workshops every Friday and 2 or 3 workshops every Sunday. I can't run commercials, apparently. Fun. Oh, Twitch keeps logging me out every 5 seconds. I think Brian's on. I'll play a quick set of ads while this loads in, guys. Continue to ask questions in chat, and I'll try and help you out. Oh, ads are over. I can talk again. Awesome. Hey, welcome back, Eddie. Yeah, I'm always down for questions. We've got a few minutes while these pick banks go through. Yes, ads are over. Oh my goodness. Yeah, a lot of times people do target ban in workshop games. I don't personally suggest doing it, but that's fine. Sorry, your hacker malts. I had some comments for you. I would suggest watching the video back after. We will be uploading it to YouTube later on this evening. Malphite is very strong, actually. I would argue that Malphite is highly underrated as a top laner. His jungle is okay, but not that good. But Malphite top is really strong. Teleport on it is awesome. What do you think of Graves top? No. There's no reason to run it. Why would you play Graves top over Lucian top? And I'm not saying you should play Lucian top. I'm just saying, why would you? Or Quinn top. Quinn has a blind, has a reposition, whereas Graves just has damage, right? Yeah, Malphite shits on Jax, Tryndamere, a couple other picks that I just don't remember off the top of my head. I did endorse Quinn top. I've always said Quinn, if you're going to play her, should be top lane. It's like punching small children. That's what Quinn top is like. It's like it's evil, but it kind of gets the job done. No, I'm not endorsing child abuse. All right, any final questions? If not, I'm gonna have to get into this match itself. AP Shaco jungle, no reason to run it. Do I believe Feral Flare is a good item? If you're a farming auto-attacking jungler, yeah, you're gonna want Feral Flare, but usually it's not the best. AD Shaco ganks just as well. I'm going to turn off music, and we'll get commenting on the match at hand. Is AD Malzahar a thing? Nah, not really. It can work, though. It's like playing... I'm trying to think of an example. It's like playing AD Kennen, right? Can Kennen AD? He can, but does he really do it better than anyone else, right? It's like doing... Oh god, I can't even think of the example now. Someone was telling me about it the other day. Oh yeah, like AD Karma, right? You have utility, you have high base damage, and you have a self-heal, like peel sort of setup. Why not go AD carry? It does reset your ult, but why not just do something else? Anyways, I'm going to get commenting on the game at hand. You guys have distracted me long enough. Okay, so in terms of picks and bans, they have taken out Kassadin, Morgana, and Brand. Apparently the Brand ban was an accident. It was not a target ban. It was just what they got rid of. The Kassadin Morgana I like. On the split side, they banned out Braum, Fizz, and Yasuo. I've said many times I don't like Fizz being banned. I think there are better bans, but who cares, right? Like, Fizz is annoying when he's fed. I would have almost thrown that ban over to like a Rengar, or... Not that anyone plays them in lower elo, but you could go for like a Maokai ban. You could go even for like a Tristana ban if you really wanted. I prefer to use my bans on really popular, consistent characters that hyper carry, right? That's my own opinion. Fizz is a fine ban. Do what you want, right? Then blue team, they've picked up a mid lane Syndra. Bot lane's going to be another Nami, this time with a Jinx. Top lane is going to be Shovel Knight with a lovely little Yorick, and then Pantheon jungle. That's going to be countering a Mumu jungle, a Renekton top, a Graves Thresh bot lane, and a Zed mid. Now, Zed technically does well versus Syndra, but if Syndra saves her skills, doesn't panic, she can counter-engage onto Zed. So assuming she's not being instantly burst, right? She's not too far behind, she's not been harassed down too low. If Zed tries to jump in, she's going to drop ball, stun, throw the W on top, Q again, alt, you're dead, right? That's something to keep in mind. There's some significant outplay potential in that lane. Also, Syndra does have the range advantage. It's gonna be a skill matchup though. No one directly counters the other. I would argue that bot lane goes over to blue side though. Nami Jinx is a very powerful lane. You have strong pick potential with your bubbles, with your traps, with the poke that you offer with your E, and that's going to be into a Thresh Graves. Graves is pretty underwhelming in my eyes. If he gets ahead, yes, he does a lot of damage. Yes, he can burst people, but I just think there are more consistent picks right now. That's my opinion. It's going to be a short delay while this loads up. If you guys have some questions, feel free to ask in chat. I will be going over the rest of the matchups and scalings as we load in, but I will also answer questions depending on how long the load screen is. But yeah, as I was saying, Thresh Graves, if they land like a really good early hook, they have the potential to come out ahead, but Nami Jinx have more options. They can poke, they can sustain, they can hard engage, they can hard disengage, whereas Graves Thresh, you're either bursting them and killing them, or you're not. Those are really your only two options, right? Now, in top lane, Yorick is going to be able to survive Renekton if they play properly. If they're equal skilled, then Yorick will win lane, and can have a good late game impact just by alting Jinx. So that technically goes over to Yorick. That being said, Renekton is easier to play and easier to get ahead with in that lane. If he knows how to deal with Yorick, he can sustain off the creeps and possibly just burn people down. Now, Amumu versus Pantheon, completely different playstyles of jungles. Pantheon is much more a damage-based jungler. He shows up, he kills you. Boom, it's done. Whereas Amumu is more team-oriented. So if his team falls behind, Amumu is going to be less impressive. If his team is doing well, though, Amumu is just going to multiply that strength, and he's going to just bring them to a completely other level. Now, I want to see how they play the early game. Pantheon's early jungle clear, it's not bad by any means, but it's not the fastest. So I would expect them to just sort of do their own clears, not really bother each other, and then go for a gank after one full clear, then go back to another clear and do a second gank. So their ganks are going to be relatively spread out, because both of them want level 6, but both of them have the option for ganks pre-6. So I really want to see how aggressive they decide to play this. Oh, I'm completely messing up. Okay. Sorry, champion picks are lined up now. Someone is asking if this is the Ranked Workshop. Yes, it is. This is the Ranked Workshop. We're here to offer constructive feedback and advice on your gameplay, decision-making, mechanics, anything we can notice from watching you play. We try and offer advice on what you've done wrong, how you can improve, and why those improvements are important. And yes, Victor is worth learning if you enjoy him. That being said, I'm both excited and terrified for the rework. I don't know, I love the champion. I love everything about him right now, but I hate how inconsistent he is, and I hate how buggy he is. So in my eyes, I'd almost rather they just make him a little bit more consistent and fix his bugs, but I know that he would be very overwhelming if they did that when ahead. It doesn't fix his, like, if he falls behind, he does nothing sort of weaknesses, but it would give him more options. I think just being able to rely on his skills actually dealing some damage, actually having an effect. Anyway, so back to this game, we do see an early ward place protecting the red buff. That's a nice little touch. I would usually expect to see the jungle placing that ward, though. He might want to keep it, though, for his blue, but I would only recommend keeping it for your blue if you're versus someone who you're worried about invading. Amu's not going to invade you. He's not going to do blue buff rush over and try and kill Pantheon at his blue. It's just, that's not how you play it, right? So I would expect to see Pantheon dropping the ward here at around a minute and a half to make sure that they're not going to invade him. That then leaves Nami a free ward to apply pressure in lane. Now in terms of early buys, Zed started with the longsword. It's an okay choice. I'm fine with it. I've commented on it before, I think, that, oh, why not start a Doran's Blade? But then he did well, so I really don't care. Build what you want, and then play towards those strengths. Having the extra sustain from those potions, though, is going to be very nice versus a ranged opponent like this. In bot lane, though, we do see Thresh going with a level 1 ward. That's not something I prefer to do. I prefer to go heavy potions and then play incredibly aggressively and use those potions to sustain back up from any damage I take. Now, we see Renekton shoving as hard as he can in this top lane to try and build up an early advantage. We also see him sustaining up quite a lot of health from this, and that is going to be amplified quite heavily by the Doran's Blade. Now, pretty standard start with the Flask on Yorick. This is exactly what I said should happen, though, that assuming equal levels of skill, Renekton actually can survive and can bully versus Yorick. And that's just because of the sustain he has. If he's surrounded by minions, if he's hitting it on you as well, he's going to heal back up a very large amount. Now, I want to take a quick peek at bot lane, because they will just be hitting level 2. Let's just rewind. Level 2 is hit first by blue side, so advantage over to them. Then Thresh hits level 2 right after, not able to connect with his hook though. If you're in that sort of range though, I might suggest leading with Flay, so that they're then slowed and you can follow up with the hook after the fact. Now, that being said though, Jinx Traps goes down, followed up quickly by a Nami, and that is going to be a kill over to Jinx. Now, the question is, how are you going to play this second setup? You have your W to heal up, Bubble's coming up in 4 seconds. Looks like Jink doesn't want to chase, and I would actually agree with that because Hook is back up for Thresh. So good play there. That builds up a huge advantage over to blue side. And as I said in the pregame, Graves needs to win lane, right? Like, if he falls behind, he's not going to do a whole lot. Alright, let's rewatch that. So Renekton was able to bully him early game, but once Yorick has a few minions, he's going to be able to do a lot of damage and sustain back up. He tries to go in for the early kill, but jumps way too close. Jumps into the turret, takes a tower shot, and dies. Even if he didn't do that, though, Pantheon would have been able to secure a kill for him. So, while that's a nice job for Yorick, that's not something you can afford to do as Renekton. As Pantheon tries to go mid, not able to land anything though. I'm actually impressed though. Zed is out farming a Syndra right now, and that's not something you should be seeing, because Syndra is a ranged champion versus melee. Yes, you can farm with your shurikens and everything on him, but that would indicate to me that Syndra's spending too much time trying to harass and not enough time landing her last hits. So, very small comment, but you wouldn't expect to see on like 3rd or 4th wave of farm him up 10 CS. That's just not something that should happen. Down in bot lane, Lantern goes through, a lot of damage coming in from Thresh. He does have flash. What I would like to see there, okay, let's rewind that, because I just saw a significant misplay. Alright, rewind this, set it back to normal speed. Alright, so Thresh goes in, not able to land the hook. He hits a minion, so what he could do is pull in and then flay backwards to Graves. Instead, what he does, he goes with his empowered auto attacks, right? You have them from your flay. Graves dealing a lot of damage with buckshot, so good work there. The lantern is a very nice touch, but you have your flay up. So what I want to see is as soon as Graves grabs the lantern, flash in, flay backwards. Because once he takes the lantern, he is coming to you no matter how far you move away. And you would have been able to flay her back in, auto-attack. Graves would have been directly beside you, and he could have auto-attacked, smokescreen, auto-attack, or done whatever he needed to do to pick up that kill. Now, that being said, Jinx did have heal. So it was a slight risk. I just think if you're going for that play, why not go all the way? That's something for him to consider in future plays. Now, Pantheon does land the gank mid. Flash comes in from Zed. Ignite is ticking, and he's going to live through. Amumu coming up top lane, not able to land onto Yorick. As you can see though, Renekton is just going to constantly be bullied here. Yorick hasn't even had to go back and buy. He's already got a kill and almost forced him out of lane a second time. And that's the power of lane Yorick. It's such a bully, right? No, it's the Renekton bar of top lane that actually is more annoying to deal with than Renekton. Because you have to be X level of sustainy or bursty or mobile in order to deal with him. Because he's just going to constantly throw ghouls on you and harass you down. In this case though, he is out of mana, so this gives a small window of opportunity for Renekton to get back into this lane. Very small comment, you want to abuse brush versus Yorick. Because if you walk into the brush after he's used a ghoul, it breaks the ghoul's aggro and they just walk off in a different direction and don't continue hitting you. So that's something for him to consider for future, although it's not an issue right at the exact moment. Graves going for a lot of mana potions. I don't really agree with that myself. Yes, Graves can use a lot of mana, but why do you have 4 mana potions, dude? If you want a mana potion, sure, buy 1 or 2. But that just seems like a lot of gold used for no particular reason. Alright, so Syndra is still about 10 CS down, but has stopped falling further behind. For the most part, anyways. Not a whole lot going down in that mid lane. I do want to take a quick peek at it when they hit level 6, though. Zed has hit level 6 already and has Ignite. Syndra has used her Flash and Ignite, so this is actually... it's obviously over now because she's hit level 6, but that's an opportunity for Zed to engage and outplay. Because you know the summoners are down, you know you have ult and they don't have ult, so that's a relatively easy kill or a way to force them out of lane. In this case, though, not going to happen. We see Pantheon coming back up top lane, and that's what should happen. Because, well, Renekton is shoving up constantly. Ton of damage coming in from Pantheon. Throws the spear, Flash goes down, and it looks like he should be able to get away. It's 6 seconds on stun, so yeah, not going to happen. We're going to rewind and watch that kill bot lane. Can pretty much guarantee what happens, though. Jinx does get hit by it, throws the traps in. Graves, way too close, taking tower aggro. Final tower shot goes through. Not able to land that, but will be able to flash, swap to your rockets, and throw a final auto attack. Good work there. Bubbles coming up in 3 seconds. You had the exhaust. I might... Okay. What's the flash for there? If you're going to flash, it has to be for an exhaust or a bubble. Just flashing for an auto attack or a slow seems like a weird decision. In this case, you do get the kill, but the just trading of flashes there without any follow-up is questionable. I don't like that decision. In the end, though, it works out, so good job. Yeah, I did mention already that Yorick had not based and was out of mana. So just to follow up on that, he really needs to have mana if he's going to follow up on any of these ganks. So he should definitely be purchasing something. I mean, he's running teleport. He can blow that at any point to get back into lane. I'd expect him to shove in this final wave and then go buy. There's no point not to go back because I'm assuming you're going to go a tier build. So you want that tier early so that you can start stacking it up. Syndra is starting to farm her way back into this. So CS has not gone further in Zed's advantage. I'm surprised at how passive he's playing. Now, if Syndra holds her combo, she can disengage and can return damage quite heavily. But I would expect to see Zed going for kills rather than farm when versus a mage. Maybe he's going to go for a different route. Maybe he's going to try and scale up and just become like a split push monster. But are you then relying on Renekton for team fights? That seems questionable. I would expect to see him trying to scale up as much as he can so he can fulfill the assassin role while Renekton becomes the movable object, whether that's a split push or whether it's as a bruiser diving into your team. Alright, so really nice traps coming out from Jinx. I really want to compliment those. The bubble not quite able to land from Nami. Ults across. I like Jinx for walking closer. I don't like the zap though. I like Jinx for walking closer because you know that the tidal wave, ugh, I completely drew a blank there for a second. You know that the tidal wave is going to connect. Now, stopping to use the zap is what was really questionable. Why did you pull the lantern back in? You grabbed the lantern to go back into the team. That seems questionable. Again, I don't know why you would do that. I have this complaint with a lot of AD carry players, where they stop to cast a skill when they could easily land 2 or 3 free auto attacks. So in the team fight there, why stop to zap when you could just auto attack with the minigun, and then turn on to Thresh after the fact? You could use zap on Thresh after the fact to slow him and combo in for the second kill, because you would already have your Get Excited passive up. Yeah, and then jumping into the turret, not generally ideal. In top lane, a lot of bullying coming in from Yorick. He does have his purchase now, has used his ult, and is going to take over that kill for himself. I would like to see him micromanaging his ult a little bit more, though. He could have walked into the bush with his ult to face check it for him, and then used his skills to follow up. That way there would be no danger of him getting caught. I don't like this from Amumu. Sorry, I have hiccups now. Sorry about that. I don't like this from a Mumu. The wave's not pushing in. So are you gonna just walk into tower and suicide? Like, I don't know what the thought was there. Alright, so Syndra is here, lands a stun across. York's gonna be able to land a lot of damage. Slow comes in from Syndra, ult comes in. Is it gonna be enough? York walks the incorrect way. Flash comes in, Q goes in, and they do land the kill thanks to the final auto attack, I believe it was. They're gonna clear that pink ward out, good job for them. I would expect to see them trying to force this tower. Because obviously it's way too early, Baron's not even up. There's nothing on this side for them to take, there's no buffs. Why not use the 3-man advantage in top lane to try and force a tower? Because the enemy team can't take a dragon as a result. You've killed their jungler, you have vision on their other lanes. It just would seem an odd decision. Zed does get stunned down. Syndra. Okay, she'd already used her knockback. Good. I was just wondering if she had her stun up for that fight or not. So Pantheon going for some counter jungling on a Mumu. Mumu goes in, not able to land the bandage toss. Quick comment to him, you generally do need to land that bandage toss, so a little bit sloppy. But Zed is able to pick it up with his Death Mark. Seem to have some connectivity issues again. I'm not sure if there's some server problems going on. Looks like Nami is back now, so hopefully she will stay connected. Alright, back to Jinx bot lane. She is 4-1-1. But she's not significantly ahead in farm. So at this point, I would like to see her translating into just picking up some extra CS, using that advantage to zone your opponent away from CS, so that they can't outscale you in terms of farm. Obviously, you've already won lane, right? There's no question about that. You can kill them anytime you want. But rather than just wave clearing, constantly shoving into tower and trying to go for kills, what I would like to see is Nami and Jinx standing essentially past the wave and never letting them near the CS. Every time they try and go up, just throw a quick EW. Oh, here comes Pantheon ult. Nami ult goes across, lands onto Graves. Not able to land the bubble though, so you definitely do want to work on your bubbles a little bit more, Nami, because I've seen a bunch of them missing. The traps go in, not quite able to connect. Zap comes across, ult comes across, but not onto the right target. She then gets pulled into tower, flayed into tower. Graves ult goes across, but is not able to land enough damage. Mumu just clearing out his blue. Doesn't need to give it over to Zed. As a result of forcing them out, though, it looks like they might try and rotate down for a dragon. I would actually like that. That being said, you haven't swapped out for your sweeper, and it is warded. It shouldn't be a problem here because you have the numbers advantage, but with your ults all being down, and with some summoner skills having been blown bot lane, I would like to have seen a sweeper being used in order to set up this fight. Zed picking up a quick kill onto Pantheon. Now they have to break off a dragon because there is no smite left. And that's exactly what I was saying. You don't want to do dragon unless you can take it safely. And a big portion of that is just making sure that you have sweeper ready to go and making sure that you can fight the enemy team if they show up. And in this case, they cannot because they used all their cooldowns. Back to top lane, York continuing to bully down Renekton. Not a whole lot to see there, so let's go back bot. Syndra's trying to come down and cancel out this play. Yeah, they can stall this for a while because the ward is there. Same issue, no one's able to clear each other's wards. Unless you have a pink ward or a sweeping lens, you generally don't want to do objectives. Nami ult's coming back up in 3 seconds. Jinx ult is up in just a few seconds as well. Yeah, 3 seconds. Syndra is here. So they're going to bait in that. Unfortunately, though, sloppy bandage toss, but it does land anyway. Zed comes in, lands the kill onto Jinx. Jinx ult does still cast, but is not going to be dealing enough damage. So they tried to bait, and they got baited in exchange. Zed's going to then ult onto Nami. Nami does not really have much to do here. She should live. Yeah, pops the potion, and is going to live without any issue. The reason she lived through that is because Zed didn't use any of his skills. Let me just rewind that for a sec. Okay, so, again, Jinx walks into hook, not ideal. Mumu tries to go for Jinx, misses Jinx, but Syndra then walks into it. The Nami ult goes across, but only lands onto Graves, and at that point, Zed is in position to counter. So, Jinx, you're long dead, right? The rest of the team needs to get out as soon as possible. Nami, you have your bubble up. I would be placing it directly on top of you. That would stun both Mumu and Zed. or wait until Zed ults and bubble on top of yourself. So Zed ulted 2 seconds too early. He didn't use his ignite, and he didn't have any skills up. In order to use Deathmark effectively, you need to combo with at least a couple other skills so that you can deal the bonus damage and apply extra damage from the Deathmark. I see in chat apparently it was a mistake. But yeah, I just wanted to point that out because that was an odd decision here. Yeah, Namu needs to work on her bubbles. It's not gameplay, sorry, not game-breaking issues, but she should be connecting with these. It's not as though the enemy team's actively dodging out of them. She's just not placing them in the right location. So it could just be she's not practiced enough Nami, and that's fine. But it's something for her to work on throughout the week. Pantheon landing onto a Mumu, landing a good amount of damage. Mumu just bandage tosses to a minion and should be able to escape here. 3 seconds left on the stun. No mana left on Pantheon. Oh, back in top lane. Hella harass coming out from Yorick. Renekton has survived relatively well, though. He's only died 2 times. Now, I don't agree with that ult, though. Unless you're actually engaging and fighting, why are you activating your ult, right? He does go back in for a damage trade, but it's not a hard engage. It's not as though he's trying to kill him, and therefore I don't agree with it. Alright, his stun's coming up. One more auto attack, not able to land it. So I would have liked to see him go in and then activate his ult for the bonus damage and everything, and then commit to the fight. It's possible, though, that he didn't want Yorick ulting, and was trying to bait it into an extended engage, but let's face it, you don't really do that well in extended engages. Pantheon tries to ult, but cancels it immediately, and then they just walk their own way. Yeah, nothing really going to happen there. Nice, so Syndra is here. I would have grabbed your orb. I would have grabbed orb so that if Zed did something, you could WEQ ult and land a hell of a lot of burst. Now that being said, you don't have your DFG finished up yet, so you're not going to be able to really one-shot people. Now, Mumu trying to come back up top. Yorick, though, is relatively safe versus these ganks because, well, minion block, right? You're going to get blocked out every time. The flash ult comes in. I would have liked to see that pinged a little earlier, though, because, well, what do you think is going to happen? He's going to take you down. Mumu does pick it up, though, with a final auto attack with his red buff, but I think if you're going to flash ult like that on a Mumu, ping the fight. And that's one of the complaints I have about a lot of these, is that people go in and they don't let their team know what they're planning. So we're going to rewind and watch that fight bot. Alright, so Jinx is able to dodge out of the hook this time. Lands the traps. Bubble goes down. Very nice timing on that. Knockup goes up from the the tidal wave, and then Jinx is just going to ult directly across them. Oh, that's unfortunate. Okay, so if Thresh stepped out instead of back towards Graves, Graves would have lived because you would have dodged. You would have blocked the ult for them, and that's something you do want to do whenever you're versus a Jinx. So that's something to consider for future. It's same as blocking a Caitlyn ult, right? You just got to do it with a little bit more distance. That's the word I'm looking for. You need to maintain proper distance from the target being hit. Syndra landing a lot of damage onto Thresh. Ults in, flashes away. Very clean but excessive combo. Looks like they're going to go over to Dragon. In the meantime, though, Zed is taking mid. Pantheon's going to try and ult this. I don't know, I think it might have been better just going to Dragon. Like, yes, you would probably lose the tower. We'll see how this ends up going. Pantheon's trying to come in with his stun, because it is coming up. Zed shadows away, and they're going to walk the other direction. Again, Dragon is still up. I would like to see that contested, as Blue Team does have a much, much better team fight when they want to. Now, taking a quick look at things, you will want the ults up from Syndra, Nami, and, of course, Jinx, if you're really going to fight here. Now, looks like Sweeper was used here. Sorry, I was looking off at chat for a second. But that was a comment I had earlier in the game, so good work, assuming that was what I saw. Pantheon does come in for the smite. Good, good, good. Ooh, Nami backing in a relatively bad position. Doesn't get caught out for it, though. Let's take another quick look at top lane. Yorick has finished his Iceborne Gauntlet and his tier. His tier is stacking up decently. He's at about 270 mana right now. Now, that being said, Renekton is out farming him. So, regardless of the amount of pressure that he's applying in lane, it doesn't matter because Renekton's still technically going even. He's down 3 kills, but he's up about 10 CS. So yeah, you're technically a little bit behind, but Yorick generally just stomps lane. So I have to give him some props for that, for going even. Good work. And Mumu go. Oh, nice bandage toss that time. Is he going to... Oh, again, Renekton needed to be aware of that, so ping your engages. But that was a good bandage toss. I'm happy to see him hitting them. Alright, they're just going to siege down the tower here. Yorick tries to land as much damage as he can. The rest of the blue team is cycling up, so let's see if they're able to land an engage here. Syndra coming in from behind. Yorick, though, not sticking to the targets. He should be able to catch up here. Alright, Iceborne Gauntlet goes down. Stun goes down from Syndra. Nicely played. W, and I'm waiting for the ult here. Alright, Mumu ult goes through. Q, ult, a lot of damage. Another Q coming out from... No, he didn't Q. I would usually expect to see Q used from him, because when that ghost is active, it gives him a move speed buff. So regardless of if you hit a minion or if you hit a Mumu, I would like to see the Q used before the rest of the skills, so that you would have the extra move speed, and then you could combo in with Iceborne Gauntlet chains and the rest of your cooldowns. Doesn't matter though, they got the kill. I was just a little shocked at the skill order there. Maybe I'm just bad. Thresh. Same comment as last game. What are you doing here, Thresh? Your team is not in position to fight. You're not going to 1v2, so why are you standing in the bush, right? And again, staying to flay... It's not gonna hurt anything here, but you always need to ask, where should I be? Where should I be right now? And in this case, the answer is not there. In the meantime, they do get a kill up top lane and are going to take down the tower quite quickly. In the meantime, Jinx Nami should be able to hold mid lane, so that puts purple team at a significant disadvantage. I want to see them cycling up to top so that they can stop them pushing the inner. Zed rotating around. Again, Thresh, you're out of position. You are not with your team. You are not going to initiate a fight without your team, so don't position yourself that closely. You also wasted Exhaust. Exhaust is a very important cooldown. Also wasted ult on Graves. Yeah, no, I strongly disagree with his positioning here. I also don't like this build coming in from Graves. You have no damage, you have no items. You need, like, AD. Zeal doesn't do that much for you. Like, you're essentially an AD caster as Graves. So you need to be able to deal enough damage with your burst in order to finish off low health targets. So something like Infinity Edge Bloodthirster, Last Whisper, maybe a Static Shiv for some extra burst wave clear. I don't know, I haven't seen Graves played in a while, but it does boil down to I build damage. Oh, great Jinx Rocket coming in and picking them off. Mumu now having connectivity issues. That's unfortunate. Yeah, we've had a couple of problems with DCs during the workshops today. Nice Thresh Hook. Zed coming in from the side. Gonna pick that up. Oh, flash? Not sure why you would flash there. You know you're dead. In the meantime, Renekton split pushing bot. Yorick does respond to it. Just sending his clone after it, so probably not going to be able to finish it off. Yeah, I'll be able to check my private messages after the game. Dragon's coming up in a minute and a half. We see some wards going down on that area. I would like to see a little bit of Baron Vision being contested here. That being said, blue team has some nice wards in the enemy jungle. This is a great ward position. This is pretty good, especially with them trying to push in the inner top tower. Oh, Pantheon ult going down on red buff. Zed not going to be taken down, but they do steal red. So nice job there, Pantheon. That was really well played. Stun goes across onto Graves, not able to ult it though. Hook goes onto him, but not going to be able to do anything. And that's the damage coming out from Graves. He does nothing at the moment. And that was my concern. If you fall behind on Graves, you can't accomplish anything. And that's why I dislike it as a generic pick. I think if you want an AD caster, or like burst AD, go for Lucian. Go for even Draven. Other example, I can't even think of another example off the top of my head. But yeah, like Draven or Lucian, if you want that playstyle, is a much better idea. So we see ult going in, Blade of the Ruin King, lands his skills across before the stun goes down, and that's going to be enough. That being said, you didn't get your E off, you didn't get your Ignite off. Flash E's ignites, and that's going to be a kill for Zed. Or is, yeah, final tick will get it. Zed just isn't that reliable as a burst AD in my opinion. I think Lucian and Draven are the better options if you want that playstyle. Tries to stun through. Nice Lantern from Thresh, pulling him to safety, and cancels out that engage. Alright, Renekton trying to group back with from mid. Jinx is standing on a ward. I like the idea of him kiting him behind, but what's your team going to do? They're sieged under tower, they can't help you with it. So unless you're going to be able to just pick up the kill alone, it's going to be difficult for you to do much. Alright, Jinx traps again, well placed. Bubble lands this time, good job Nami. And you still have your ult to disengage if you need to. Syndra landing some nice stuns this game. Alright, so you generally don't use your knockback unless there's a ball in range. Did I say Zed? Sorry, I was talking about alternatives to Graves, yes. Alright, again, nice stuns coming in from Syndra. That being said, they should be easily dodged. You really need to pay attention to where she's positioned and where her balls are positioned, so that you're not lining yourself up to get hit by those. Alright, Jinx taking red over for herself. Nami. I like the wards, but you're a little alone here. Alright, should be fine though. Alright, Zed. Taking a decent amount of damage from Syndra. Alright, let's see if we're able to set up a fight here. Pantheon ult goes down. Syndra landing a Q, but gets hooked before she can land the stun. Zed goes in. Jinx lands an instant double kill pretty much. Amumu goes back in, lands the ult. The Syndra ult not quite picking up Thresh, but I would expect him to die at the end of the day. Anyways, Flash Q comes in, and then Zap comes in from Jinx, and she's just going to machine gun him down. Or in this case, not machine gun him down. Syndra gets the kill. So that is a 5-0. That is huge. They can use that to take the inhibitor, but because it's still early, they're not going to be able to get the base off of that. Yeah, you just need to focus the inhib. Take the inhib as fast as you can. I would then recommend doing a full buy and then force Baron, because you've already proven how far ahead you are. There's no reason to stay. Go heal, have someone clear bot, then force Baron. That would be the ideal play in my eyes. Really, really good team fight though. Beautiful Pantheon ult as well. Jinx taking a lot of damage, but the kite goes through and lands herself the kill. Alright, so that's pretty much what we expected to see here. Clear out bot lane, get some vision on Baron, and then as soon as you see the enemy mispositioning or not responding to something, you can either take top tower or you can take Baron. It sets up a very, very easy play for you. In this case, they're just going to push in the tower, apply pressure, but they're not actually going to take it themselves. Syndra going in a little deep, but Jinx is in and not able to land the stun, but they do get the kill. Jinx ult not able to connect this time. That's just showing how far ahead they are. That combo was not perfect. They didn't land the stun. The ball was just slightly mispositioned from Syndra, but it didn't matter because you have so much damage, you can just end the game, pretty much. Alright, so taking away as many wards as they can. Renekton trying to cycle through the jungle here. Pantheon trying to loop around. Not gonna catch him. I'm confused as to why you're not forcing Baron right now. Minions have pushed up mid, minions have pushed up bot. You have Syndra applying pressure on bot, so they have to respond to it. You're far enough ahead that you can fight pretty much anything, so just force Baron. And it looks like they're going to. In the meantime, they go on to Yorick. Nami there with the tidal wave, with the double bubble. Yorick ult goes through, he's healing back up quite quickly. Zed coming in from the side though. Is he going to be able to do anything? Zed goes on to Nami. Thresh just barely getting away. Nope, Syndra coming in from behind. Zed landing a lot of damage onto Nami. That's going to be a dead fishy. Renekton then going to be able to take down Yorick, looks like. Syndra is still here though. So that was sloppy from blue side. Very, very sloppy. Alright, so the issue was, they sent 2 top, they sent 2 Baron, and then they sent 1 bot lane. Okay, but what's that going to accomplish for you, right? I like Syndra being able to respond and get up to top, and this is still going to go in their favor overall, because the rest of their team is now responding, and Syndra lands a stun onto Zed. But the decision-making involved in that play was very poor. I don't like it. Alright, either way, good job Syndra. Lands a lot of damage. Good response time in getting there as well. That's a free tower over to them. I would expect them to be able to take inhib before anyone respawns. No one's really there to contest it. And now you have the choice. You can either Baron, or you can stall out the game. In this case, looks like they're going to buy first, but I want to see Baron forced. Mid inhib has come back up, but top inhib is down. That's applying a lot of vision and map pressure to the top side of the map where Baron is located. Wait, what am I saying? They did take Baron. I'm fucking dumb. Yeah, they did secure Baron in that time. I'm dumb. I misspoke heavily there. Alright, Pantheon ulting in onto Graves. The double bubble, the stuns, this... Oh my god, that was beautifully played. Very, very nice. Syndra coming in from behind, lands the stun onto Renekton, should be able to pick this up, and I want to see you end the game right now. And it looks like they will. Yeah, I was so focused on the top team fight that I didn't see that they did finish Baron before helping, and that's why they were so delayed. Zed tries to go in, but too little too late, not going to be able to land anything. And that is the game. Nice job, everyone. So we're going to go over final item builds, playstyles, a couple of the comments that we had in the game. That being said, though, I do recommend watching the video back after the fact. It will be uploaded to YouTube later this evening, tomorrow morning at the latest. There has been some issues with the Twitch exporter, so it can be slightly delayed. Now, in terms of overall, I want to start with Graves, only because I don't want to pick on him. I don't want to be stuck on him at the end of at the very, very end of the stream, and I don't want to make him feel like I'm being unfair. I mentioned during the game, Graves I do not consider to be a good pick right now. Reasons are, he has to win lane, or he falls off and doesn't really have any purpose, right? Graves' job is to burst people. He has a burst combo, that's what he does. So if you can't land that burst combo, if you're behind, you're not able to deal enough damage, he doesn't have much of an effect. So if you want that style of a character, I might suggest someone like Draven, who does a lot of damage if you want like just burst, or Lucian, who focuses more like an AD caster as an AD carry. Both of those characters are much better than Graves in my opinion. Graves did get buffs, it's a okay pick, but it's not a generic pick. You don't just pick it with anyone versus anyone. Things like Graves Leona work well because you can just all in, you can set up early advantages and just snowball off of that. But versus someone with sustain like Nami, right? You're going to get poked down. You're not going to be able to 100 to 0 them, and therefore you're not going to have much of an effect. In terms of build, why would you rush Phantom Nuts on someone who needs to scale with AD? I wanted to see you getting that early AD, such as from a Bloodthirster or an Infinity Edge, either of those options, and then getting some getting some armor pen so that your damage remains relevant, and then rounding out the build with something like a static shivs for some burst and wave clear, or going for even more AD with the Infinity Edge combo. I can't really say too much about him. I don't want him to feel judged, but there was some issues. So watch back the video, try and determine where you're making mistakes, and adjust your gameplay if you want to consider playing Graves more, or maybe consider other champions. That's up to you at that point. You can do what you wish. Thresh had some good hooks. I had a couple comments during the game of like, not sure why you're there, not sure what your intention is, but overall your build it's fine. I would have liked to see a little bit more CDR though. I also wouldn't have minded seeing a Crucible, because you are dealing with a Syndra stun, you're dealing with Pantheon stun, you're dealing with Nami knockups, slows, stuns, you're dealing with Jinx traps. There was a lot of things that could have been Crucibled there, and that's something to consider. I also would like to see Talisman of Ascension finished up. I'm not sure why that wasn't done before the Randuins. I don't know. I just think Tally would have been better so you could engage or disengage fights. But the overall theme of the build was fine. Zed, your build's normal. Had some concerns where in lane phase you focused farm over kills. I would have liked to see a little bit more aggressive play, and I think you could have snowballed off that and helped other lanes before they fell too far behind. I would have liked to see him going for an early kill and CS advantage, and then translating that into bot lane to try and help Graves and help him not fall behind. Because again, it is such a binary lane down there. Renekton did a good job, actually, of surviving and farming versus Yorick, but as a result, he wasn't able to scale up and wasn't able to have an effect on the overall outcome of the game. His build, though, is okay. The Hydra lets you cancel out your stun on Renekton so you can continue being mobile and doing extra damage. And, of course, Randuin's or Sunfire Cape. I would like to see a Sunfire, actually, over what appears to be going into Randuin's. I also would like to see maybe picking up some jungle camps so that you'd be able to farm up a little bit more, but overall you did a good job of remaining relevant. There was just some gameplay issues, and we commented on those during the game. Amumu, you had some issues with some of your bindings. Definitely work on those. Watch the video back. There was some questionable ganks where it's like, okay, what are you going to accomplish in this gank? And there was some issues with landing bindings, decision making, that sort of stuff. But overall, I didn't have any large critiques. It was fine. Now, swapping over to the winning side there, Jinx, great job with your traps. Those were really, really well placed. I didn't really have any issues with pretty much anything. I would have liked to see you farming a little bit more. Your ults were on point, your traps were on point. My only real complaint was a lot of times where you could have just landed 2 or 3 auto attacks, you locked yourself in place to use a zap. Auto attacks are usually better, right? You're able to reposition between them, you're staying in range, and they can't be dodged. So I would like to see that in a lot of the trades early lane in bot, but you did really well. I have no large critiques. Your build is fine. I'm assuming that was going into a late game Bloodthirster. I would have liked to see a little bit of lifesteal though. Maybe instead of going right for the BF sword, you might have wanted to pick up the lifesteal, but no one was threatening you, so it was not in any way an issue. Nami, you need to work on your bubbles. I had some concerns with those. Overall gameplay though was fine. The Frozen Heart seems questionable here. Zed wasn't that much of a threat. Graves was no threat. Renekton, not that big a deal. So what are you stacking armor versus? What are you reducing attack speed of? Graves is really the only... Zed is the only one really auto-attacking in fights. And he's doing burst combos, right? So I don't like the Frozen Heart there. You could have gone for a Locket to deal with the AoE from Graves, from Amumu, a little bit from Thresh, a little bit from Zed, or you could have gone for Crucible to cancel out any sort of stuns from Amumu. I just think there's better options than Frozen Heart on Nami. Wait, you did have a Crucible, sorry. I'm saying prioritize the Crucible over that, and then you could have used the gold from Frozen Heart to pick up, upgrading all the way to Frost Queen's Claim. A better option than Frozen Heart would be Randuin's, so you can use the active, and it just has better stats, I think. I just don't like Frozen Heart on Nami, personally. Syndra, really good job actually. You had some early issues with CSing, but that was fixed quite heavily. Hourglass, Deathfire Grasp. Yeah, no Void Staff, but it wasn't really needed. No one had Magic Resist on the enemy team. I would take a look at item builds though. If they're building Magic Resist, definitely consider getting the Void Staff earlier. Your build is great though. You did a really good job. Not much to say there. I apologize for not having too much to really offer in terms of advice, but there wasn't that many significant misplays. Yorick, good job top lane with the harass. That being said, the way you were harassing was allowing Renekton to still farm, and that could have been an issue if the rest of the purple side was able to stay even. But overall, you did what Yorick does. You were annoying, you farmed, you bullied him, and you got some kills. So, good work overall. Pantheon, saw some good ults, some questionable decision making though in terms of what you were ganking, where you were just going really deep on a fight that you didn't have mana or you didn't have cooldowns in order to finish. So I would have just cut your losses and gone and farmed or ganked a different lane or gone and purchased. There's some stuff that you could have done there. I also think you might have wanted to go a little bit more damage intensive, but if you're ulting into the middle of team fights, this is pretty much what we would expect, a Randuin's Guardian Angel sort of a setup. So, good work overall.